My name is Ruem Tolentino from Bachelor of Science in Hospitality Management, Section 2. I'm here to present you the Chapter 13 of Life and Works of Jose Rizal. Here's our presentation. I'm with Jeffrey Delara Hepolio. Rizal in Japan. Rizal left Hong Kong on board of the Oceanic, an American steamer on his way to Japan. He arrived in Yokohama, Japan, and stayed for 1 day in Grand Hotel. After spending a day in Yokohama, Rizal went to Tokyo and stayed in Tokyo Hotel for 5 days. He was impressed of the city of Tokyo. Rizal wrote to Professor Blumentritt. Rizal said Tokyo is more extensive than Paris. The walls are built in cyclopean manner. The streets are large and wide. Shortly after Rizal arrived in Tokyo, he was visited at his hotel by Juan Perez Caballero, the secretary of the Spanish legation. Juan Perez Caballero gave Rizal a letter, invited him to live at the Spanish legation. Rizal, being an intelligent man, realized that the Spanish diplomatic authorities were instructed from Manila to watch out movements in Japan. He accepted this invitation for only 2 reasons. 1, he could economize his living expenses by staying at the legation, and 2, he had nothing to hide from the prying eyes of the Spanish authorities. On March 7, Rizal checked out of Tokyo Hotel and lived at Spanish legation. He and Perez Caballero became good friends. In a letter to Blumentritt, he described this Spanish diplomat as a young, fine and excellent writer, and an able diplomat who had traveled much. During his first day in Tokyo, Rizal was embarrassed because he cannot speak proper Japanese language. To avoid further embarrassment, Rizal decided to study the Japanese language. Being a born linguist, he was able to speak it within a few days. He also studied Japanese drama, which is kabuki in Japanese, arts, music, and judo, the Japanese art of self-defense. Rizal's impression of Japan. Rizal was favorably impressed by Japan. He was a keen observer, taking copious notes of the life, customs, and culture of the people. He was no silly light-headed tourist who merely enjoys attractive sights that appealed only to the senses. The things which favorably impressed Rizal in Japan were the beauties of the country, its flowers, mountains, streams, and scenic panoramas, the cleanliness, politeness, and industry of the Japanese people, the picturesque dress, and simple charm of the Japanese women. There are very few thieves in Japan, so that the houses remained open day and night. And in the hotel room, one can safely leave money on the table. Beggars were rarely seen in the city streets, unlike Manila and other cities. However, there's one thing he did not like in Japan, and that was the popular mode of transportation by means of rickshaws drawn by men.
Rizal and Osai-san. A samurai daughter of 23 years old had never experienced true love. Yusoi-san, her father a store owner, a woman of beauty, charm, modesty, and intelligence, speak French and English. When Rizal first introduced himself to her, he took off his hat as a sign of respect, a German costume. Osai-san was more than Rizal's girlfriend, for she was his guide, interpreter, and tutor. She improved his knowledge of the Japanese language. She eases the pain left by Leonor Rivera. Rizal and Osai-san are both tretre addicts. They attended some kabuki plays such as Senda Haigi, Manhiro Nakahama, Chushigara. Rizal fell greatly in love with Osai-san, that he was tempted to leave the Philippines and settle down in Japan. He was offered a job in the Spanish legations, Pasiano, wrote to him reminding him of his duty and why he left the Philippines in the first place. Rizal left Japan via the ship Belgic and English steamer Yokohama, bound for United States. It ended 45 days of his unforgettable stay in Japan and his relationship with Osei-san. Osei-san after Rizal's departure. Alfred Charlton became the husband of Osei-san in 1897. 1 year after Rizal was executed, he was a British teacher of chemistry in Pierce School in Tokyo. They had a daughter named Yuriko, who married a son of Japanese senator. Seiko Usui died in 1947 at age 80 and was buried beside her husband. Sayonara, Japan. April 13, 1888, Rizal left Japan boarded in Belgique, an English steamer bound for United States. Techo Suihiro, a fighting Japanese journalist, novelist, and champion of human rights, who was forced by the government to leave Japan. He met a semi-Filipino family, Mr. Reynaldo Turner and his wife Emma Jackson, their children and maid from Pangasinan. Techo Suihiro became a member of the Japanese Imperial Diet Parliament, wrote to novels, Nankai Nan Deyaharanan, Storm over the South Sea, 1891, resembling Noli Me Tangere, Onubara, The Big Ocean, 1894, resembling El Filibusterismo. Died in 1896 at age 49 due to heart attack. These two kindred, Saul Rizal and Suihiro, were advocates of freedom. Both were valiant patriots, implacable enemies of injustice and tyranny. Suihiro on Rizal. Suihiro admired Rizal for his kindness and genius. It was Rizal who taught him the Western way. Like Rizal, Suihiro kept a diary of his travels. Under the date May 20, 1889 of his diary, he mentioned how he made farewell to Rizal in London. He was leaving London to sail back to Japan via France. He published his book entitled Deep Traveler, in which he mentioned of his travel with Dr. Jose Rizal from Yokohama to London via America. The following years, he published his political novel, Storm over the Southern Sea, the plot of which was similar to Rizal Noli. The hero was named Takayama, which was Ibarra in the Noli. After Rizal's execution on December 30, 1896, which Suihiro mourned deeply, he became prominent in Japan's journalist and political circles. He reached editor of Choya Shinbun, and later became a member of the Japanese Parliament.